Make a choice. Be a champion.
Chad George, how are you doing today, sir?
Well, it's a Monday night, and I have my whiskey with good company, so it's off to a good start.
Well, awesome. Thank you for that. I'm assuming you're referring to me and not the other people that are in the facility here.
I was talking about the company at hand.
Oh, okay, good. You know, this place has a gold kind of hue to it, and it's funny because it matches what's in our glasses here. It just gives off the whole whiskey vibe. But anyway, today we're talking about something that I think is very important, and it is a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. Something you're very interested in and passionate about. Tell me a little bit about what you mean by the two and what the difference is.
Well, there's a lot, and this is something that I've been talking about a lot lately. I've been doing a lot of talks, and we've been talking about, people that are having a hard time getting past barriers, and then there's other people who just keep growing and growing and growing, and there's two different types of mindsets that are very common, which are the fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And a fixed mindset is very common amongst the people that are around us the closest. Most people with fixed mindsets are the ones that are always talking about, this is the way that I've always been, or this is the way it just is, or this is the way that I've learned how to do it, and I accept the way things are. And that's the fixed mindset, where you're just fixed on this is the way it is. And a growth mindset is the type of people which is almost cut from a different cloth, that the way things were only so I can grow, and that nothing that I'm doing right now is set in stone, because I can take lessons from it, or I can retract from it, I can pivot from it, but everything is going to allow me to grow. And the people that have the growth mindsets are the ones that are the individuals that seem to really just achieve and achieve and achieve and achieve, because it doesn't matter if it's sports or if it's business, that there's always room to grow. There's always room to say, hey, I didn't know what I was doing. I take responsibility for that. I take ownership, and I'm trying to grow. I need to keep moving. There is nothing that's holding me down. Where the exact opposite, that most people, because of the conditionings that they've grown up with, are just fixed. They're a product of their environment, and they think that this is just the way it has to be because it's the way it's always been.
This is kind of crazy that you bring this up. It's not the first time this happens with us. There's a proverb, really, I guess, a really old Arabic proverb, and I put it on my Facebook profile just a couple days ago. It might have been yesterday or the day before, and it's exactly what you're saying, right? And I think the proverb, if I'm going to translate it into English, goes something like, arrogance is fixed, or doesn't move, and sophistication is fluid. Right? I mean, isn't that exactly on? And this is an old proverb that, people have probably been saying for thousands of years. And, I appreciate what you're saying. How does that, kind of explain how that ties into your brand, this mentality?
Well, my brand, like what I preach, is because I used to have a fixed mindset. I'm a product of somebody that was a victim of my own reality that I had made in my own head. That this is the way that I've always been. I accept the way people make fun of me. I accept that I come from this ethnicity or this background. I accept that this is the environment that I'm in. And I am a product of that. I am the reason why that I failed at so many things growing up, even in business, let's see, even in schooling. Like, I am the reason for that because of the way that my fixed mindset was. It was just, I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. I don't have the skills for that. It's because I'm too short. It's because I don't have enough money. It's because I don't have enough education. I was the reason why I created all these problems for myself, because I couldn't see past those barriers. And now I've learned that because those were all self-inflicted, that I was creating this upon myself, I was able to break this fixed mindset and develop into this growth mindset. And as soon as I touched into that, everything changed. Because I started taking full responsibility for everything that I do, my actions, my words, even the people around me. Because I have to take responsibility for those around me, not for their actions, but because if they do something that involves me, that is my problem for being in that circle.
Right, right.
You can't just blame everybody around you that's making fuss and causing problems. The problem is that you're in that circle.
Right.
And so my brand, I guess you could call it now, is that I am just doing everything that I can on a daily basis to promote this growth mindset, getting people out of the fixed mindset, because then we could truly start to live life.
Right.
Life, once you start getting outside of that fixation on that you can't do things or the reasons why you can't do something, and you see this world in front of you that is just open to possibilities, that the sky is truly the limit, that the growth of what you're doing, the process becomes an obsession, and that you can really start enjoying life every single day. And that's really what I promote with everything that I do, whether it's fighting, business, just self-development. It's truly about, okay, get out of the idea of what you think you can and what you can't do. Just do it. Get in the process, get in the habit. I promise you, if you do one new thing, it's going to spark something else, and you're going to continue this residual effect of growth. But if you're refusing to just try a new thing, then you're refusing to get out of that fixed mindset, and you're just accepting the fact that you're going to be miserable for the rest of your life and just doing nothing but making excuses.
And starting sometimes is like half the battle.
I think starting is the hardest thing.
Yeah.
One of the things I talk about with my academy is that the hardest thing to do at my academy, the hardest thing to do is walk through the doors the very first time. It's starting. It's committing. It's saying, you know what? I'm stuck in my habits and I need to do something new. The first step is all it takes. It's momentum.
Yeah.
Think about this. You have momentum either going forward or you have momentum staying right where you're at. I know it sounds funny, right? Like momentum staying right where you're at. How does that make sense? What it means is you're already in a habit cycle of just staying put, not doing anything new.
Hamster on the wheel.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Doesn't mean the hamster's not moving, just not going anywhere.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you how, what you're saying helped me at the very least. Give people watching a real life example is when you basically suggested the intermittent fasting to me. I was telling you, I eat like a fatty and I got to stop eating, or I got to eat less to help myself, because obviously I'm behind a desk all day long. I don't have the luxury of being in the gym as much as a lot of the guys that we interact with. And, I took that first step to try to skip breakfast, as ridiculous as it sounds. And it was tough. I was able to do it, man. And I feel like it's...
Sorry to cut you off, but let's also rewind that back a little bit.
Yeah,
Before I got you into intermittent fasting, I remember our conversations clearly. And the words that you used to say is, I can't go without breakfast.
Yeah.
I can't change the way that I eat. I can't stop eating these foods that I do on a daily basis. That was the conversation that we had.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you were like, you know what? I need to make a change. Because here's what happens. When we want something bad enough, that is the only time that we're going to be willing to make a change. Because habits are what make us comfortable. Our habit cycles are what make us comfortable. Mm-hmm. And even though we are so unhappy with what our habit cycles are creating, we're comfortable in that habit cycle.
Yeah. So we got to embrace the discomfort a little bit.
That's it. Because now look at, like, you finally broke the habit cycle of what you were doing.
Yeah.
You started eating a different way. You found something that seems to work for you. And the last I recall, you're in the lowest weight category you've been in a long time.
Yeah. I'm headed towards cruiserweight over here, brother. I've been a cruiserweight in a long time.
See what I'm saying? And because of one change. Think about that.
Yeah.
One change. One step towards growth allowed everything to change.
So, and this all boils back down to what we're talking about here, the fixed mindset versus the sort of fluid, growth mindset. Now, another issue with that I wanted to point out to you and get your thoughts on was some people will say they'll use their confidence as a crutch, their ego. And what I mean is, well, this is the way I am, and I'm not changing. I'm sticking to my guns. So on some level, that's projecting confidence, but on some level, that's also projecting a fear.
100%. The guys that are saying that, they are afraid to admit that there's room for them to actually change. They want to be seen as this expert. They want to be seen as somebody that takes a stand. I'm an alpha.
I am what I am.
I am what I am, and this is the way it's going to be. Well, great. Good for you. Good for you. But what happens when the industry pivots? What happens when something goes in a different direction?
Right.
So yeah, you're boasting about that confidence, and I get it. Yeah, that you have to have that, but you have to be willing to pivot when things need to be changed. Depends on where you're at. Like for me, everything that I do now is for growth and for legacy.
And we've seen empires crumble when people are not able to pivot.
100%. And they go, no, this is the way that I've always done it. This is the way we made millions and millions of dollars. It's the way it's been done. Okay, but it's changed. So either you change with it, or you suffer the latter.
How do you get a hard head to become somebody who's stubborn is what I mean, to become introspective and to say, okay, there is room for growth.
Inspiration.
I mean,
it's the only way.
And that can come in many forms.
It can be, but it's harder for these guys, right? You have to try to find ways to inspire them to see that they're at that mindset, because a lot of them aren't going to change. They're not. It's just they've worked too hard to get to where they are, and they don't want to admit that there is room for growth. It doesn't mean that you failed. And see, that's a big part of it. Yeah. People are afraid to admit that they failed. And you only fail when you quit. Just because something doesn't go the direction that you thought it was, or maybe because it's not as successful as it was in the past. Listen, that just means you have an opportunity to make a change, to do something even bigger, even better. But you have to be willing to change with it as well. There's a big thing I talk about all the time is that when you are with a business, you're with a group of individuals that are set on this growth path. If you do not grow with it, you're going to get left behind, and then you're going to be the one that is sitting in the back making excuses and probably being the one that's going to talk shit and why things change, and that's why you left. No, you didn't leave. It left you.
Man, it's it's not easy as a guy to be introspective, you know what I mean? Or a gal. I mean, it's not easy.
The hardest thing to do is look at yourself in the mirror and be able to look deep inside the person that's looking back at you. That was the biggest thing for me, is that when I learned that I could look in my mirror and know exactly who that was looking back, I could finally be transparent with not only myself, but I could be transparent with everybody around me, because I'm no longer holding on to this mask. Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. When I started fighting, I created a superhero entity. I used to do my hair different colors. I put on this image. I had to become this savage that I wanted people to see me as. But when I looked in the mirror, I knew it was a facade. I knew that character that I was playing was just a character. Yes, I went out and fought. But this image that I put on wasn't genuine. It wasn't real. Until the one day it finally clicked, and I went, holy shit. This character that I've been playing obviously is there the whole time. Shaved the head off, and all of a sudden I started being able to be that savage without needing the facade, without needing the smoke and mirrors. It just became who I was.
What caused that transition?
I finally got sick of running. And by running, I mean running for myself and my own insecurities. I was sick of doubting myself every time I did anything. I was sick of other people being able to achieve these things that I know that I could do if I just gave myself a real chance. You see other people succeed, and we always say, oh, I could have done that. No. I wish I would have done that. Well, then why didn't you? right? Like if you think you could have, why didn't you? Because your own insecurities prevented you from trying. You know, I had one of my students, one of my young athletes, my juniors, this past weekend, broke my heart. You know, he pulled out of a major wrestling tournament because of his own fear at the tournament.
Wow.
And I tried to talk him out of it. I even told him that I'd done that when I was a kid, and you know, it's something that it's going to weigh on him for many years if he does it. And the anxiety of the situation just took the better of him, and he forfeited at the tournament.
Wow, that's rough, man.
You know, and it was one of those things that, you know, and here's the interesting about it. Part of the conversation was, I said, listen, just go do one match, and then you'll feel better. And he was just saying, I can't do it. He was fixed in that mindset of I can't.
Had he ever competed before?
Yeah. He actually this is his first year of wrestling in high school. And he already took third place at the league championships.
Wow.
He made it to the regional championships. And as a freshman, like, this is amazing. This kid, first year of wrestling.
Yeah.
Where some people would look at it like, man, that's huge confidence to be able to get there. And to him, he's like, I don't belong here.
You think maybe that success he had kind of, you know, he didn't want to have to try to live up to that or duplicate it maybe?
A little bit. You know, his biggest thing was he was afraid of letting people down. And I tried to explain to him, you know, the only time you let people down is when you don't try. Yeah. Nobody cares if you win or lose. And the people that are going to judge you for losing, fuck them anyways.
Yeah.
You know, those people have their own issues. They got their own problems.
Yeah.
Let them worry about them. Who cares what they think?
So, I mean, sometimes the transition, if you ever do transition from that fixed mindset to that growth mindset, sometimes it's going to take a massive failure, maybe.
I think it's going to take many massive failures.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take heartache. It's going to take pain. It's going to take, like, for me, it got to the point where I was just sick of having it for so many years, over and over and over again. And I've been obsessed with mind development for years. Self-development. I read books. I go to these workshops. I listen to audiobooks. I mean, I've done everything. And then even still, it was like, I still didn't accept it. I see all these people around me succeeding, all the people that I study and I listen to succeeding, and they talk about the same thing. Like, it's no coincidence that every single successful person talks about the same thing. But yet, when I would listen to it, I'm like, yeah, but that's not me.
So, definitely from a regional standpoint, at the very least, you know, you've got a real great thing going at CMMA. You got your 0 to Fight certification. You know, you've got these fantastic young fighters and veteran fighters that you're coaching. Things are booming in the world of Chad George. You know, you've got, you know, your YouTube channel now. And everything's growing and moving forward. Do you have room to continue growing?
I think that's where a lot of, like this past week, I can give you an example. I mean, I was in Vegas. I traveled from Vegas, and I had to come straight back. We left at 5 a.m. for a seminar in Los Angeles. The same day, I got back from Vegas for a fight. Next week, I fly out to Washington, and then I have to come back for another event. And I don't say that because I'm like, oh, look how cool I am with my busy schedule. What it is that as I grow, the things around me grow as well. And to answer your question is there room for me to keep growing? I haven't even started.
No.
I haven't even started. Like, what I'm doing right now is exhausting, only because for me, I'm like, man, this is all new. Like, the fact that I'm I don't even know what days it is anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I've got something this day, something that day, something the following. I'm like, what's going on? But luckily, I've learned how to schedule and plan and manage my day-to-day fairly well. And I've got great people around me. I've got my teams around me that are helping me with everything now. And as I grow, I make it very important that the people around me are growing as well. You know, my goal is not just to have me keep building and keep succeeding on different levels. I want everybody around me to do the same thing, so that way, so we're all growing together collectively. That's what it needs to be. Right. You need to grow your pack. Everybody's got to get They got to have that growth together. You
Yeah.
can't do this individually. And the more you build those around you. And if the people around you are stuck in that fixed mindset, they're going to get replaced. I don't mean that to say it as a negative, like dick way of saying it, but it's true.
Yeah.
Because as this ball is moving, as this truck is driving down, you got two options. Get in
or run
get
the
out.
fuck over. I love it, man.
And for me, I love watching people grow. That's where I'm at now. And I did an interview the other day talking about, do I miss fighting? And the answer is yes, of course I do. I miss fighting. But where I'm at now and being able to give people an opportunity to grow and see them be able to chase their dreams and be a voice that I can actually help guide them to grow into these levels that they didn't know they could succeed with, kind of almost allows me to go back in time and fix the things with myself that I didn't have that opportunity for, but with this new generation of athlete and entrepreneur. And it's really cool. I get people every day that are emailing us and sending messages about, thanks for this story or this message. And like that to me means that we're doing the right thing. We're changing lives and we're helping people grow. And that's it. If I can just change one person with each message that we do, then we're doing the right thing.
Love it, Chad George, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey guys, if you like this episode, follow the podcast and subscribe to our YouTube channel.